In ancient Athens, around 300 BCE, a poor young man worked as a water carrier by night, hauling heavy buckets through the dark streets. His hands were calloused, his back ached, but during the day, this same man sat at the feet of philosophers, furiously taking notes and absorbing wisdom. His name was Cleanthes, and he would later develop one of philosophy's most powerful ideas, that true freedom comes from embracing our fate. Cleanthes had arrived in Athens with just 4 drachmas to his name. Too poor to afford the basic necessities while studying philosophy, he took on the grueling night work. His fellow students mocked him for his poverty and his manual labor, but Cleanthes saw something they didn't. Every circumstance, even the seemingly harsh ones, offered an opportunity for growth. When brought before a court to explain how he sustained himself while studying, as suspicious officials believed no one could be that poor and honest, Cleanthes proudly showed his calloused hands. He presented the gardener he worked for and the woman whose flower he ground as witnesses to his character. The judges were so impressed by his industriousness that they offered him a gift of money, which Zeno, his teacher, made him refuse. But it was during those long nights of hauling water that Cleanthes developed his profound insight about fate. He observed that the water he carried always flowed downhill, following its nature without resistance. Yet, within that natural flow, it could nourish, cleanse and transform. He saw this as a metaphor for human life. We too could flow with our fate while actively engaging with it. Cleanthes captured this wisdom in his famous hymn to Zeus, where he wrote that even the wicked, in trying to escape their fate, only fulfill it in another way. The key to freedom, he taught, was not in fighting against our circumstances, but in actively embracing them as necessary and good. Lead me, O Zeus, and thou, O destiny, he wrote, to wheresoever thy purpose yet may be. I follow fearless, for the law is mine, and any way I go divine. Today, this ancient wisdom speaks directly to our modern struggles. Think of your own life circumstances, the job you might wish were different, the relationships that challenge you, the limitations that frustrate you. What if, like Cleanthes, you could see these not as obstacles, but as essential elements of your path? Dr. Sarah Chen, a modern psychologist, shares Cleanthes' story with her patients who struggle with acceptance. What moves me about Cleanthes, she says, is that he didn't just passively accept his fate, he actively embraced it. He turned his poverty into a testimony of his character, his manual labor into a source of strength. Cleanthes embodied this philosophy until his death at the age of 99. Legend has it that he developed a gum infection and was advised by doctors to stop eating for a few days. He followed their advice, but when they told him he could eat again, he refused, saying he had already traveled so far on the path that it would be foolish to turn back now. He embraced even his death as part of the natural flow of fate. His teaching reminds us that our circumstances, whatever they may be, are not random obstacles but essential elements of our path. The question is not, why is this happening to me? But how is this necessary for my growth? As you face your own challenges, remember Cleanthes with his water buckets in the dark Athenian nights. Remember how he transformed his necessity into virtue, his fate into purpose. The circumstances of your life, like the water he carried, are always flowing somewhere. Your power lies not in fighting the flow, but in embracing it, working with it, and allowing it to carry you toward growth. In doing so, you might discover what Cleanthes discovered, that when we fully embrace our fate, we find within it the seeds of our greatest transformation. As he wrote, fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling. The choice is not in what happens to us, but in how freely and fully we embrace it.